Welcome to The Better Part, a program that encompasses a diverse spectrum of topics important to our community, which we hope will both inform and entertain you. We invite you to sit back and enjoy the program.
Hello, I'm Phil Linehan of The Better Part. As you may have gathered from the teaser, today we will be discussing the fine men and women of the California Highway Patrol. Our guest today is Captain Kathy Wayne, Commander of the San Jose CHP office, which covers most of Santa Clara County, and is a 27-year veteran of the California Highway Patrol. Welcome, Kathy. It's nice to have you here. Let's start with, how did you get started to become a policeman?
Thank you, first of all, for allowing me to be here today. It's a pleasure. I began my career in January of 1984. Prior to coming on the Highway Patrol, I was a paramedic in the city of Oakland. I wanted to have a job where I had some stability and great benefits, and the things that I loved most about law enforcement was service in the community. The Highway Patrol, when I looked at the different agencies and the things that I wanted to do, I always saw the Highway Patrol as the most professional. The officers were always sharp, always respectful. They had the best looking cars, best looking equipment, and just it was an agency and an organization that I wanted to be a part of. So I began the hiring process, and I was hired and went to the academy in January 1984.
Kathy, when did women first join the Highway Patrol?
The first women joined the Highway Patrol in 1974. There were a group of women that joined the class of men, and the test was to see if women could get through the academy and do the job the same as men. And in that class, the women did very well, and is a reason that I'm proud to be here today.
I remember reading that one of the women showed them the skill by shooting a perfect score on the pistol range.
Yes, she did.
I guess they made a couple of points with that.
Yes, absolutely.
What was your progression to commander?
Well, I first started out in the Oakland CHP office, where I worked there for 9 years. I did a lot of various duties in the job. I was a training officer, a weapons officer. I also worked in the commercial enforcement, doing the truck enforcement. So I had a lot of jobs that I did at the Oakland office. I then transferred to our Vallejo office, where I helped do commercial operations, and sort of an administrative position where I got to see how areas interact with our field headquarters on various levels. I then transferred back to field operations in the Martinez CHP office. Loved working that area. It was a lot of fun, a lot of diversity. I then went to actually, I promoted at that time. That's right, I forgot about that. I promoted to sergeant, and actually went back to the field and worked as a sergeant. I was then the supervisor that oversaw the narcotics interdiction unit. So we had a team of officers, some of them had canines, and we would go to different areas throughout the Bay Area and work narcotics interdiction. And so that was really a lot of fun. I then went back to the field and worked in field operations before I promoted to lieutenant. And at that time I transferred to the Dublin CHP office, where I stayed there until I took a lieutenant commander position in Sunol at the Mission Grade Inspection Facility. So I found myself back in the commercial operations arena.
Back with trucks.
Back with trucks again. And my father was a truck driver, so I was very comfortable around the trucking environment. I then promoted to captain, and I served as the commander of our communications center in Vallejo for nearly 3 years before I transferred to my current command, San Jose, and truly having the time of my life right now.
That's a marvelous career path.
Thank you.
I mean, so as a commander, you've experienced just about everything there is there, so nobody give you any grief.
No.
Do women have the same training as men?
Yes, they do. We have a 27-week academy, and that academy is in Sacramento, and every officer on the Highway Patrol attends that academy. And it's a rigorous academic as well as physical training program, kind of similar to like a military boot camp. You learn the rules of the road, you learn laws and regulations, accident investigation, drunk driving, how to conduct drunk driving arrests. And for me, it was a great experience. I was very prepared when I went to the academy, and I learned a lot, and it served me well.
Well, I'm from New York, and I have a couple of uncles when I was living back there who were policemen. And that was the job to get if you were an immigrant. And then I recently was at one of the San Jose Police Department graduations, and I can't tell you how impressed I was with the qualifications of those cadets.
Yes.
Actually, one of them was a lady who just got a master's degree at San Jose State, and I just met another police officer who had a PhD, and he just retired. So you really get good people in police enforcement, and it's supposed to be a marvelous career.
Absolutely.
What are the requirements for a cadet, for somebody coming into the program?
Normally, you need to have some life experience. Although it's not a requirement, you need to be between 20 and 35 years of age. It's only required that you have a high school education, but I can tell you when you're competing with other candidates out there, you need to have an advanced degree in order to be competitive, or really have some life experience that would make you capable of coming in and serving the community in that environment.
I have a police friend who did tell me he was doing some training. He says that one of the things that they really have to learn is writing properly and doing reports properly, because these are legal documents, so you really have to be skilled in that area. Do cadets, or not cadets, after they're assigned, do they get assigned to various offices throughout the state, or can they choose something slightly local?
Well, what they do, during the time that they're in the academy, they fill out what is called a wish list. And they kind of put down the areas that they'd like to go after they graduate from the academy. Now, the academy issues orders to those cadets based on the needs of the department. So we look on a statewide level to see where do we need officers, where are the vacancies, and then those officers are assigned to those areas based on their seniority in the academy. If they have a family that lives in the area, perhaps they have a home and young children, that is taken into consideration. And then the cadet is assigned to that area. And I want to say I think it's about a couple months before they graduate that they actually find out where they're going to go. And then once they find out where they're going to go, the area coordinates with them to make sure that they have housing and to let them know what some of their resources are. Once they go to their area and they are there for a year and they pass their probationary period, they are allowed to put in a transfer to any location in the state, and they will get their transfer solely based on their seniority.
Kathy, how are you handling diversity in your recruiting? I mean, we speak, I don't know how many languages in this area, and I'm sure that's a concern for you when you're talking to people that have stopped or have committed a crime.
Yes, that is something that we work very hard on with the Highway Patrol. We always try to recruit based upon our population in our state, so that's something that we actively do with our recruitment efforts. One of the things that we also do every year is a language survey, and during that 2-week period we keep track of all the different languages that we come across, both with our officers as well as our non-uniform staff who answer our telephones and communicate with the public. As a result of those surveys, it lets us know what languages need to be spoken at those areas, and we try to open up positions for people to transfer into those areas that are able to speak that language. So we do our best to try to serve our local communities.
There is also a pay incentive for speaking another language, if I remember correctly?
Yes, there is, as long as it's a language that's highly required in that area. Yes, then those officers will be compensated for speaking that language.
So it sounds like a fun career.
It's a great career, yes.
Okay, at the end of this program, we're going to put up on the screen a location where anybody who's interested in the Highway Patrol can go for more information.
Absolutely. And also the San Jose CHP office, we are looking to put up our own website. So that's going to be coming in the near future so that our local citizens and we can better serve our community by obtaining information in a timely manner.
Oh, great. Well, what we're going to do now is we're going to cut to some of those videos that you brought us, and let's see how they go.
HP side, because it's just a great career, and You know, you're going to be living a dream. I wake up every day and I get in a patrol car and I'm looking around. I can't believe I'm a highway patrol officer. It's amazing. It's amazing feeling on the highway. It's amazing feeling, you know, driving that car at work every day. And you see something new every day. You learn something new every day. No 2 days are ever alike.
I'm a U-860 helicopter pilot, Black Hawk pilot. I went straight from college to flight school, straight from flight school to the desert in Iraq. Spent 15 months on a deployment, came home, went through the CHP Academy. I kind of knew it early on when I was doing my military.
You know, some of the perceptions out there that we just write tickets on the highway, and that's not true.
There's so many opportunities with the Highway Patrol that most people are not aware of until they join the agency. So if you have the desire to fly a plane or fly a helicopter, to ride a bicycle, to ride a horse.
The training from weapons to EVOC to enforcement tactics.
SWAT team, K-9, air operations units, there's government protection. There's a lot of opportunity in the CHP.
Well, they were rather impressive.
Thank you.
I hope you get more people knocking on your door. Okay, exactly what are the responsibilities of the Highway Patrol?
Well, first of all, the Highway Patrol's mission is to provide the highest level of safety, service, and security to the people of the state of California. And our primary jurisdiction is all freeways and throughout the state. That's our responsibility, as well as unincorporated county areas. So we do have some responsibility off of the freeway. And also in Santa Clara County, we have additional responsibilities through our expressways. So we have contracts with some of the local jurisdictions where we actually take over traffic law enforcement within the city on the expressways. We also have the responsibility for all state buildings and facilities. And we have officers that are assigned to state facilities, and they go there and ensure that the state facilities are secure at all times.
Okay, I have a question. Now, in the teaser, I saw a boat, and the boat said California Highway Patrol on it. Now, why would the California Highway Patrol need a boat?
Right. A lot of people ask that question. Well, what it is, if you think back to when I talked about having responsibility for state facilities, think of all the bridges right here in the Bay Area that are state facilities. And when you look at some of the terrorist attacks that have occurred in the past, and you know, it's a major thoroughfare for vehicular traffic and people to, you know, be large numbers of people to be on those bridges, we have to ensure that those bridges are safe, both from above and below.
Now I know why you have both. All right, let's talk about, I think, one of the most important things is speeding and controlling speeding on the freeways. How you have these Fab 5 groups that swoop in.
Yes.
How well does that work?
We think it works very well. Our primary mission is to reduce the mileage death rate, and we try our best to go out and not only educate the public, which is an important element, but also to strictly enforce the rules of the road. One of the primary collision factors for accidents is speed. So we have what we call is the Fab 5, and we have 4 officers and 1 supervisor, and their job is to go out every day and saturate areas throughout Santa Clara County with strict enforcement of the speed laws. And it's been very successful in our county, and a lot of times when citizens will call in and make a traffic complaint that they're having a lot of vehicles speeding, say on 85 or 101 or 880, we'll have the Fab 5 go out there and do strict enforcement for maybe several days at a time. Maybe it's one day, but it can take up to several days before we get the speeds down. But they get the message when they see, you know, several motors on the side of the road being pulled over.
So there's a halo effect on that, so the people who, most of the repeat drivers on the road, they will see that, and for weeks after that, there'll still be this halo effect for, hey, there's a lot of policemen around here, I should not be speeding?
Yes, we'd like to think so.
Okay. Successes. Now, I'm sure you have numerous successes, but the one I'm very impressed with is how did you reduce the accidents and death rate on Highway 17? I mean, there's no place for you to hide. How do you catch anybody?
I wish I could take the credit for that, but that program began before I came to the San Jose area. And it started out with several law enforcement agencies as well as some other agencies outside of law enforcement. And they all came together as a group called the Safe on 17. And what they did was it involved the Office of Traffic Safety, the Santa Cruz County Traffic Operations Oversight Committee, the highway patrol from both the San Jose and the Santa Cruz area, because we share responsibilities on Highway 17, and as well as Caltrans. So when all those agencies got together and collaborated on how they could reduce deaths on 17, they realized that there was some things that needed to be done as far as not just enforcement, but also roadway configurations. Drainage problem was a huge issue up there. Visibility was a problem, so they did some cutaway of some of the shrubbery and just did a lot of roadway improvements. And that committee is still going on strong even in 2010, 2011.
I never considered Caltrans as part of stopping speeding programs, but it makes perfect sense.
Absolutely. You think of some of the signage up there. You know, they have some areas where it talks about the safety corridor. You know, Caltrans plays a huge role in that.
Okay, our next favorite subject is cell phones and texting.
Cell phones and texting.
Now, last August, you had a program, which I think was 2 days of saturation enforcement. How well did that go?
It was very successful. This was the second year that we had done that type of enforcement. And we started it out with the CHP areas in the Bay Area, which is called Golden Gate Division. We had the areas pick a couple days throughout the year where we would all work together to enforce cell phone violations. And at the same time, we figured you might as well include some of our allied agency counterparts, because if we're having the problems on the freeways, they're also having the problems in the cities. Yeah. I am a part of the Santa Clara County Chiefs of Police Association, and I brought it up to our chiefs of police, and everybody agreed to participate. And we all went out on a 2-day period and just saturated the area, and it was very successful. For the 2-day event, which was August 10th and the 18th, throughout the Bay Area, including the Highway Patrol and allied agencies, we wrote nearly 2,500 citations.
Very nice.
And in addition to the citations, we also had significant arrests for driving without a license. Several drunk drivers were arrested. Vehicle theft was detected. So there was other crimes that we came upon as a result of our efforts.
All right. You speaking about drunk driving. How is that? How do you enforce that? Is it just obvious when people are driving and weaving, or are there any ways you detect a drunk driver and take them over? Because you can't randomly take people over. You have to have a reason, correct?
You have to have a reason to stop them, yes. And a lot of times you would think that the drunk driver would be, you know, weaving all over 4 lanes of traffic, and that's not necessarily the case. With the drunk driving law being at .08, you don't have to be stumbling drunk to be considered driving under the influence. We do several programs throughout Santa Clara County and throughout the entire state. Zero tolerance for drunk driving. We make a lot of vehicle stops. Several of our stops could be, you know, as a result of speeding, and then we detect alcohol, and we detect that the motorist is under the influence and is taken into custody. And when you think about it, they're not weaving all over the road, but if they're speeding, they could still be involved in an accident. And you think about their, you know, the reaction time and their ability to recognize danger. We have a lot of construction projects that go on at night, officers that are on the side of the freeway making stops, and when these individuals are not being attentive, it's a very dangerous situation. We do have heavy enforcement efforts that we do during the holiday seasons, where we work with the allied agencies, and we do zero tolerance, as well as some of our DUI checkpoints are with the allied agencies as well. So it's something it continues to be a problem, and not only in the state of California, but in the nation.
Okay, let's talk about some of your programs, and this is a lead-in from drunk driving, the Every 15 Minutes program.
Yes.
Explain what that is.
That is a 2-day program that is held at a high school, and it involves the students, the parents, the community, law enforcement, fire department, hospital, the coroner's office is involved. It's a very intense program, and I'm just so proud of the program that we have here in the San Jose area, and our coordinators and our officers actively participate, and it's just a great program. It really sends a strong message to the children and their parents as well. We have people come in and make it look like they're actually dead with some of the blood, and the coroner actually zips them up in a bag and transports them. The teen driver is arrested and physically taken to jail and it shows them sitting in the jail cell, and it's just very powerful. The students are notified that the children are dead, and when the officer goes into the classroom to read the obituary. The parents are also notified by an officer. They'll go to their home, to their office, and it's very, very emotional. And the second day is actually the funeral. So the funeral procession, you know, you have the mortuary that brings the coffin in, and everybody marches in like it's a regular funeral. Very emotional.
Sounds like it's high impact.
Yeah, and we think, I mean, it's hard to look at, are you really making an impact on those children, and are you making an impact on the rest of the kids in the school? And I will tell you personally, looking around in that auditorium and seeing the emotions, I think it makes a huge impact.
Okay, how about your motorcycle program? Now, supposing I wanted to jump on this bike and ride out and go get some training. Now, I hear you have a training program.
Well, we have a training program, and the primary thing that we do at the area level, though, is really try to enforce the rules of the road for safe motorcycle riding. And the reason that we did that in San Jose office was because we had a high number of motorcycle fatalities, and you would figure that maybe it'd be the younger kids that were, you know, on their race rockets and they were out, you know, driving without regard. But we found that it wasn't just the young kids. It was young, old, men, women. There were various factors as to why they were having accidents. Sometimes alcohol was involved, speed was involved, not being familiar with their motorcycle. Maybe some of the older guys, when they turned 50, they went out and bought the big Harley without, you know, thinking about how bikes have changed since the last time they rode. So there's a lot of factors involved. We highly recommend that individuals go to a motorcycle training program and actually go and have someone teach you the basic rules of the road and the basic riding skills. Our area has also taken on having motorcycle open houses. We've had several successful open houses where we open our doors and try to bring in the motorcycle community so that we can talk to them and they can talk openly to us about riding and safe riding. That's been great in our community. Very well received.
Okay, you also have a new senior driving program for senior drivers. I think it's called Stay Vital.
Yes, it is.
How does that come in?
That's
new
great.
This year?
Yes, last year we
Last
started
year,
that
okay.
program. It's actually being taught by our senior volunteers, and we have 26 senior volunteers in our office, and they teach those programs. And it's a free program. It's 4 hours long, and we actually have them go out free of charge we mostly go to senior centers. Sometimes you know, condos have little meeting spaces, and we go and provide this 4-hour training. And I will tell you, it's a great program. I want to get my husband to do it, but it's a great program, and it really, you know, it talks about how your body changes as you get older, being familiar with your car. When's the best time to go out to drive? Say you have a doctor's appointment. You know, don't make your doctor's appointment during commute where there's a lot of pedestrians, a lot of children, a lot of parents, you know, out on the road getting their kids to school. And what's the best route to get there? Instead of going the route that you have to make all left turns, you know, maybe it's better to get there by making a lot of right turns that are a lot easier. It's just a fantastic program, and, you know, I highly recommend if anybody's interested to contact our office. We'd be happy to provide that service.
Well, I have to agree. At my age, I constantly am aware that skill level is not what it used to be, and you just have to be aware of that and just be careful.
Yeah.
Now, I'm on my list of programs and stuff. You have another program for seniors volunteering to help at the CHP.
Yes.
What is that one?
That is our senior volunteer program, and currently we have about 26 senior volunteers, and they're fabulous. They're absolutely wonderful. Some of the things that they do are they do public affairs events in the communities. They go to health fairs. They go to some of the schools to talk to the children. Sometimes we'll have them go out in a marked patrol car to sit out in the school zone so people will slow down while they're taking their children to school. They also participate in some of our fundraising that we do for programs such as the Cesar Chavez book drive. We also have some other food drives that we do throughout the year, so they're very helpful with that. They also help take our patrol cars back and forth to Sacramento to be replaced, as well as they do our older driver program. As I told you before, they're instrumental in that. They are such a valuable resource to our office. They also, some of them work in the office, helping process reports and process citations. They are such an invaluable resource. I'm so proud of them. Just a
And
great
if
program.
somebody's interested, they just contact your office?
Well, at the current time, we don't have any openings.
Okay.
When we do have openings, what we do is put the information out in the media, and then we decide how many individuals that we have, how many we want to add, and then we put on an academy class for those interested.
Well, we'd like to thank you for joining us today at The Better Part, and I'd like to speak for the community and thank you all for your service.
Thank you so much. It's an honor for me to be here today, and thank you for what you do for your community, and I'm very proud to be here.
Well, that's it for today on The Better Part. I hope you've enjoyed the program, and I hope you join us next week. We will have some information posted right after this program to give you how to get in touch with the Highway Patrol. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. We hope that you have found today's program both informative and interesting. If you would like to suggest a topic or a guest for The Better Part, you can always reach us at the Cupertino Senior Center. The number there is 408-777-3150. You can learn more about us and order a copy of this program or one of the many programs that we've done by visiting our website. The website address is www.thebetterpart.com. The Better Part has many of its programs available through the Santa Clara County Library System. And the Better Part has selected programs also on YouTube. Thanks again for watching. See you next week.